Can you hear me, Michelle? Now let me hear you speak. Oh, no, wait a second. TV's not on.
Can you hear me?
Sometimes
Michelle, can you open up the, okay, there it is.
Could I sign up for public be heard?
which one did you get? Oh, yeah.
Actually, I made you a copy there. That's can be for the public.
Thank you.
Bill, did you hear Michael?
No, those can be for the public.
I actually have a
He-
copy.
he-
I have a copy
they-
there.
they-
Yeah, so I don't need that.
And
And look, here's,
Mine too, because I have it on my computer.
I printed and brought my own, so then here's another. Okay. This is like the loaves and the fishes. Or the seeds and the stems. I don't know which one it is. That's the part that I like.
Go ahead and speak, Michelle.
Bill, did you hear Michael? He wants to be put on public be heard.
Okay, you keep the list.
I keep the list? Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you get my voicemail?
I quoted it.
We had a system and we just started it and it came up, yours was the name that I got first. I was sure you would got it, but they said to call every name. I was howling.
So is your, yeah. Is-
You want me to turn?
You guys have to mute your computers.
I am gonna stop my Wi-Fi. There, how's that? Now say something.
Feedback.
I got it. So, it's a good soccer team, especially sport. And so, yeah. Good enough contact.
So I'll turn this on. Okay. One, two, okay.
One. So, what, I just wanted to say thank you. Yeah.
You did a great job. Thanks, Is that possible? But not only that, you don't want to go back. That means.
Yeah.
And so that's.
Oh, it's kind of rough. It's cool in a rough.
Well, thanks for putting it on both, but, you know.
So.
Yeah, there's even a mural.
They learn a lot, and it's a really good experience, and they don't realize.
Okay, call to order. Call William. The August 23rd Town Board Business Meeting to order, and as it is our business meeting, we stand for the pledge. Couple of announcements. Just want to remind everybody that the Bears are out and they're very, very, very active. In fact, I can't think of a year where I've seen more. And just try and avoid them. Let's be extra careful not to leave food out, because unfortunately, if they do break into houses, they don't move them anymore. And, you know, it's a hard thing to see, but we don't want to lose them. So I just ask everybody to be careful. The other thing is, I'll remind everybody that things are dry out there. We did get a little bit of rain today, but particularly if you're in the Hamlet Water District, our usage is up by probably over 30% some days. So far, we haven't seen any issues with our wells, but better to be proactive and conserve than run short. And I know that a lot of us are looking at Kingston. Kingston's is a little self-inflicted in that they had to, not that they had a choice, but they had to lower their reservoir by over 13 feet in order to do work this spring. So they started out the year with their supply cut way down. And now they're in a position where they can't recharge it. So they are worse off than we are. But again, I've also heard that some private wells, possibly up on O'Hare Mountain Road, are starting to have some issues. Conserve, it's the right thing to do. Other quick appointment that I'm going to make, and I will be sending an email out to everybody tomorrow. But I think we all know that housing is our big topic and big crisis at the moment here in town. And it's come to a point where we have numerous different boards, the Housing Committee, the Housing Oversight Committee, the Housing Alliance, the Home Share Group, plus all our WEC and the Planning Board, and Zoning Board, and all these different groups looking at housing. So I found that I think it's really critical at this point for me to appoint a liaison to all these groups to kind of keep track of what everybody's doing. So I am appointing Deborah Dewan tonight to that task. I talked with Deborah over the last couple of days, and she's willing and up for the challenge. And I will send that email out to everybody tomorrow, but she's going to kind of be the point person and keep track and make sure that we're all getting the same information, and that the various committees and boards are getting the same information. And hopefully it'll help us make better decisions. So
Thanks to Deborah
Yeah.
saying yes to the
Yeah.
great
Yes. A lot going
thank you,
on.
Deborah. It's Thank you for stepping forward. She's hiding. I don't blame her. So we do have a public hearing at 7:10, but I'm going to jump in and get a couple of resolutions out of the way while we wait. We resolved to accept minutes for meetings held on July 12th, July 19th, and August 8th.
I do have a question. I'll second if I do have a question.
Go ahead.
I saw the July 19th ones. Did we actually get the July 12th and the August 9th? I looked.
They actually did send those all out.
Oh, Ashley sent them out.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, there was a mistake in the 19th that we sent those out. So. Chance to look at them?
I did not see I saw the 19th and had a chance to look at it and saw the correction, but I did not see the 12th.
Okay, Reggie and Maria, the same?
I have the 12th as well.
I mean, did they come earlier?
Yes. Okay, let's look at the actually something. So, all right, so I'm gonna amend the resolution.
Well, yeah, I see she sent them on August 19th with other
Yeah.
information.
Right.
So, so we can look at her.
Well, I'll be resolved to accept minutes for a meeting held on July 19th. All in favor?
I'll accept with, I did send a correction.
Okay.
I will approve.
While we're talking about the minutes, and this came up a couple of meetings ago, particularly when you give a report or something, tonight, you guys might be giving some reports on different things. What Jackie asked is that she doesn't do the meeting minutes verbatim, she kind of does shorthands, just the meat and potatoes of it. So if you do have a report that you want to attach to the minutes, she's happy to do that and just provide it to her. And you can do that after the meeting. And you'll see she frequently does that when somebody does a presentation, she'll ask that they forward that. Be it resolved to accept town clerk's report.
Second.
All in favor? Be it resolved to authorize payment of order vouchers in the amount of $385,293.33.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved to authorize transfers to transfer sheet. Aye. Be resolved to authorize the supervisor to sign second amendment to tower space land lease agreement to the tower space land lease agreement between the town of Woodstock and T-Mobile Northeast LLC. And this application went through the planning board. It's to replace 4 antenna with 4 similar antenna. It's not for 5G antenna at this point. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Whereas the town of Woodstock intends to renovate and add an addition to the Como offices located at 45 Como Drive, Woodstock, New York, and renovate the supervisor's cottage located at 47 Como Drive, Woodstock, New York. And whereas the financing for the project at these locations was approved in a referendum held on November 2nd, 2021, whereas plan specifications, bidding documents for the project have been prepared by Walker Architecture of Woodstock, New York, and SJM Associates of Boyceville, New York. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes public bidding for the project entitled Contract TW222, renovation and addition of Como office facility, and further establishes initial bid advertising date of August, make that 24th, 2022. Sealed bids will be received to the town clerk's office, 45 Como Drive, Woodstock, New York, 12498. No faxes or email bids will be accepted up to 11 a.m. on October 3rd, 2022. Be further resolved to authorize the town clerk to advertise for initial bids in Woodstock Times and other appropriate publications related to construction trades. Be it further resolved that such advertisements inform interested parties that plans and specifications will be available on Thumb Drive and by email at town clerk's office, 45 Como Drive, Woodstock, New York, 12498.
Second.
Any questions?
Yeah, I do have a couple of questions. I read the SHPO recommendation, And then I reviewed the plans that are sent on Monday to all the town board, and it doesn't reflect the recommendation to place a glass
You
breezeway.
don't have them right there, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Pull up the plan and I'll show you on page 2.
That where they
So-
were recommending the glass.
So on page 2,
I'm sorry, keep going.
see, look, it's,
Yes, so look at, you see this, that's all glass now? This is a little deep wall right there. And if you look at the old plans, it was the wall all the way up.
this. This does not reflect the all glass that the SHPO suggested. This just reflects windows. And the SHPO's recommendation was that it needed to be an all glass breezeway. And I'm concerned that we need to make sure that we are following the recommendation that they have suggested that will allow us to get the application's best view so that we can make this a historic building and get that designation.
And I'm gonna ask that I'm gonna give you the lead on this, and you can confer with SHPO to make sure this conforms to what they want. And if it needs to be all glass, the architect is happy to do, he felt that this met what they were asking for. He's happy with all glass too.
That's what it says from them. It says
Mhm.
it should be all glass to minimize the visual impact.
I'm more than happy to work with the architect
And SHPO.
and with SHPO to make sure of that. I mean, the plan itself is from February 10th, so the SHPO recommendation wasn't until June or July.
If you go back, they made that change, if you go back and look at what we had last January, you'll see that, actually, let me see if I can pull it up. You'll see that it was all, it was mostly,
I mean, I think I've been perfectly clear that my intention is to work hard to get a historic designation for this building. And I am completely in favor of making sure that the town offices expanded to meet the needs of the town, obviously.
and, okay, and no one else
No, and
has any
I'm
objections.
on mute. There's a microphone here. I knew that was coming.
So I'll leave it to you to make sure that that design detail is worked out.
That's great.
Okay.
I would rather that we work that detail out before voting.
That's fine. How does everybody else feel? You won't get in the grounds for winter.
Well, I mean, I believe there are some things that can go forward and details get resolved in one way. Projects work, is you start out with a plan and you do evolve it as you proceed.
This is a bid, and we're going to possibly change the design. And so the bids then would have to reflect what that.
Well, if you get on it tomorrow, that can go out with the bid package. The change can be made in an hour tomorrow with Jess.
I would feel better if we spent the time to do it. The next meeting is when? September 9th.
Which pushes the bids into November, which pushes the start date into December, which means next year.
So the advertisement date is August 24th, that's to make the paper this week.
Yes. Again, the changes, there'll be addendums to the bid as we go along. Reggie, do you want to wait, or do you want to?
I'd like it if we could move forward and make an addenda if there can be a change without us delaying.
Is there a way to change the language so that certain addendum, so that, that would be an addendum made to this specifically?
So let me go over two modifications to the plan. Be it further resolved that Councilman Benedict will work with Chippo and the architect to make sure the plans for the connector meet Chippo's specifications for us to get historic designation. Further resolves that the town board authorizes town historian Richard Hepner to immediately put in an application for historic designation for the property. Second for the changes. All in favor of the changes?
Aye. Aye.
You didn't ask who was opposed.
All, all opposed?
No.
Okay. Aye, okay, very good. But you-
No, I'm in favor of the amendment, but I'm opposed to.
You still,
But I still have to do what we said I would do.
unless you want somebody else to do it. No,
No,
of course. Excellent, thank you. Be it resolved to accept the, oh, actually,
Maria Lenz vote on that?
yeah, she's not. Okay, actually, it's 7:15, so it's time for the public hearing. Then if you could read the notice for the public hearing.
The Woodstock Town Board at a meeting held on August 9th, 2022, scheduled a public hearing for August 23rd, 2022 at 7:10 in the town offices, 45 Como Drive, Woodstock, New York. And we have to hear comment on the proposed amendment to chapter 260 zoning law, town of Woodstock, New York, adding an additional permitted use in the L1 district.
All those wishing to be heard on this matter can now be heard. Anyone? If you could come up to the corner here and just tell us your name, and everybody gets 2 minutes. We're going to go around and we'll see where we are after that. You could kind of face both of us.
Yeah, please state your name now.
My name is Danny Rubenstein. I apologize for the way I look. I had surgery 4 hours ago, but I thought this was so important to come out that I'm disobeying my doctor's orders. I'm addressing my comments really to the board of Woodstock Library, the ethics board, and the planning board and the planning boards of Ulster. I am not an expert in libraries. I'm not an expert in library zoning. I suspect that with all of you, you are not experts in these matters either. So as I think about it, I'm very concerned, and to kind of simplify things, instead of a library, let's say this was a house. And we wanted to buy a house because we love the house. We wanted the house for our family, our children, our grandchildren, our legacy. Would we buy a house on toxic property? The answer is probably not, but if we loved the house enough, we would probably do everything we could, do a lot of due diligence to make sure that nothing could possibly go wrong if we were to buy this house, knowing that there was a fortunately, the banks serve as a guardrail. Every bank in the country would not give a loan to a homeowner on a property like this. That's because of, excuse me,
15 seconds.
15 seconds. I just got started.
You got
2 minutes.
Everybody gets 2
We're
minutes.
going to go around, and do I get to finish 15 seconds.
Well, I'll just cut to the chase. In my opinion, laws have a reason. We're breaking laws of the Environmental Commission. We are breaking our own zoning laws. We are breaking the guidelines that we have for construction.
Thank you.
We'll come back. I've got quite a lot more to say.
Thanks, Danny.
2 minutes and I'll wave my hand so I don't interrupt when there's 15 seconds left.
Thank you. I'm Michael Mulvey. I've lived in this town for 26 years, which isn't necessarily a long time. There's people who've been here for generations. But I will say this, in that time, I was for a group while homeless. And even more importantly, when my daughter was very young, that open space, that library, internet, with all of the facilities it provided in the center of town, was an absolute lifeline for us. We've lost a lot of open public space. Even something that seemed as inconsequential as losing the swimming hole, that has an effect on how parents connect with each other and form a community. Community cohesion is so important. Whatever is done with that library property, if the library is in fact moved, not protect open public spaces that serve the community. We are flying in the face of that 2018 comprehensive plan. And I just urge each of you, even though you may not have been at the bottom of the economic ladder at one point, you may have been, to consider the inclusiveness of having restricted public space open during the week when the food pantries and the other shopping areas and places where families must go are there. And so please, just look to protect that and look to inform yourself through that comprehensive building plan, because that's why it's there. And I thank you all for your time, and I really hope this gets due consideration.
Thank you for coming out. Space first, and I'll is when it's 15 seconds to go.
Okay.
You're on.
Tonight's proposed zoning change to add one permitted use in the light industrial district is a ridiculous waste of our time and yours. Separate the word library, public and non-public, is absurd. How many libraries are fighting to get into the district? Then to have it bastardized further by indicating a public library is permitted and a non-public library is not permitted screams incompetence. How many members of the board are qualified professionals?
All right.
The Department of State requires that zoning enabling laws be adopted in accordance with a comprehensive plan. Land use regulations and capital projects of the community must be consistent with the plan and must be consulted prior to adoption or amendment. Nowhere in the town's 2018 comprehensive plan does it show libraries moving into an industrial district as proposed growth for the town. Tonight's topic is considered spot zoning and is illegal in New York State. Courts have struck down zoning amendments that do not comply with the comprehensive plan. Quote, does not contain any detailed explanation by the town board for changing the permitted use, end quote. Where is your detailed explanation? Quote, proposed zoning action should include a review of reasonable alternatives, end quote. Unreasonable alternative, has been written and paid for. Matt Rudakoff, a professional planner, was hired in 2016 to assist the Woodstock Planning Board on zoning law amendments for the light industrial district. This was sent to the town board, where it has sat for over 6 years. Why has it not been discussed or adopted? That proposal covers the entire district, not just one parcel. It also shows cultural facilities, libraries as requiring a special permit in turn under planning board purview. The planning board continues that recommendation today. Why are you ignoring the town's own planning board not once, but now twice? Seems foolish. If the town board votes to approve this failure of an amendment, it'll appear the only conclusion we can assume is that
Time's up.
eptness and or type of pollution is in play. Thank you.
Come back for the rest of it.
That's it.
What else?
Just want to address ethics here. I think every single one of you town board members has an ethical responsibility to citizens. And when you consider altering zoning arbitrarily like this, which is spot zoning, and it's completely illegal in New York State, you are really becoming criminals. And you know what? You're responsible. You're not covered by some insurance because you're on the board. We can get you personally in court, and I want you to think about it. We don't want the burden on our shoulders of the remediation of that god-awful place at Tim Dixon. I'm now talking to C2G Environmental Consultants. It's gonna be millions, and we don't wanna pay that because of your foolishness. Reconsider your foolishness, get ethical, and stop making stupid decisions that hurt the citizens. It's disgusting.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Going once? Anyone for the first time? Okay, so I'm gonna take a couple for the second time. Yeah,
Bill? I have 3 people signed up on my end.
okay, you know what? I'm gonna, let me take the 3 people that haven't spoken first.
Michael Veach, you can speak.
So everybody gets 2 minutes, and I'll wave when we're at 15 seconds.
Michael, are you on?
Just, yes, go ahead. Michael, where are you? Who's next? We'll come back to Michael.
Jeff Collins.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
I should be quick. I just want to thank the town board for considering this change in the use table. It clearly reflects the will of the people based on the vote on May 10th of 845 in favor of the library repurposed using 10 Dixon Ave versus 500 against. So again, thank you very much. I really appreciate your help with this and facilitating this. Thanks a lot.
It's all the way up. Thank you, Jeff. So just so everybody knows, we did order a speaker bar that hopefully in the next week or so will come in and get installed. So hoping that that little glitch gets resolved soon.
Can I repeat what Jeff said for those people who couldn't hear what
Yeah.
Jeff said? Yeah, so Jeff said, and Jeff, correct me if I'm mistaken, that this move reflects the vote by the people, and Jeff is thanking the town board for taking this action.
That is correct.
Michelle, who's next?
Dorothea, I'm sorry if that's not the right way to pronounce it.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Dorothea?
Thank you. Hi, I'm Dorothea Marcus. I'm a resident of the Bearsville Flats. And this neighborhood is actually the most affordable housing neighborhood in Woodstock. And there are lots of families with children and lots of seniors who live here who are going to be very happy to have a library that's convenient to them and with lots of safe parking. And this is a light industrial district, but environmental studies were done which show that there's no reason for the library not to be there. And in terms of the speaker who mentioned about open space in the center of town, the board of directors of the library has already voted to we're not selling the lot. It's the library lawn is a separate lot from the building, and we are not selling it. We are donating it to the town to be forever green. So there will always be that park space right in the center of town. So thank you very much. And I thank the town board for considering this action.
Okay, thank you, Dorothea. And then just Michael. Is Michael back yet? Okay. Dan, I'll give you another bite at the apple.
Thank you. I'm gonna talk really fast.
Okay, so another 2 minutes.
My concern is solely environmental. I don't really care about the library. I care about the safety of the public. Everyone here was elected in part because of the safety of the public. In fact, one of the members of the board was elected on a platform of protecting the aquifers. The study that was done was a minimal study that was illegal. If someone is concerned about commerce in Ulster County, in Woodstock, in the restaurants, in the water supply, why would anyone take the minimal possible activity to check if there's an environmental problem and you could poison the entire water system for this town for generations? Doesn't it make sense to slow down, step back, and do all the environmental studies? The laws are there for a purpose. The type 1 test was there because of a change in zoning. You have different zoning requirements if you're a manufacturing facility, or if you're a library or a community. The reason.
Hold on 1 second, Dan. I'm gonna, Tim Moore, can you silence yourself? Okay.
There's a reason for the.
Unmute my audio.
And Jeff Collins says, well, there's no problem with the library. Well, there's no problem today. But if you bought a house with lead pipes, would you be concerned about the lead leaching in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? It's not a problem for the town because the taxpayers have to pay for all the remediation. It's not fair. And in my opinion, the board has a very important responsibility to this community. You should act in the best interest of the taxpayers. And as someone said, the taxpayers are going to have to pay for any future cleanup due to a appropriate representation of the town by their law firm and buying the property. But more importantly, there's several standards in the law. I'm not a lawyer, but there's negligence, and negligence is saying Jeff Collins says it's okay. There's gross negligence. Gross negligence says, well, there may be a problem, but I'm still going to rely on Jeff. And then there's willful misconduct. Willful misconduct means you know about the laws, you're trying to circumvent the laws, you're trying to accomplish something that may not be in the best interest of the community. And as elected officials, most of you are my friends, I care about lots of you.
Okay.
The last thing I would want to do is see you lose your homes, as Hera said, because of gross negligence and willful misconduct on the part of your activities tonight.
Thank you, Dan.
Tim Moore would like to speak as well.
Okay. 2 minutes, Tim.
Okay. I just want to thank the town board for all the work that they've done to try to make sure that the information was clear. We have done the library has done the Collier study. It was a very thorough study. It went back over all the old studies and it came up clear. The company that was there, Model Optics, was there since 1972. If any toxins were going to show up in the water supply, by now they would have shown up. I think the threats of being a giant remediation project are overblown, number one, and are costing the library. You want to cost the taxpayers money. You're costing the taxpayers $25,000 in your library taxes right now for the library to defend against a specious claim that has no testing behind it. An old 2012 study has been overblown and cited as being a reason for opposing the conversion from a light industrial zone or giving the waiver to the library for this site for 10 Dixon. So I want to thank the library for this. I want to also cite the sign off by the 2 departments at the town that have signed off on the Collier report. And I hope we can go together. We have 1 lawsuit to get through. It's cost the town so far $25,000 or projected $25,000 to defend against this suit. Hopefully by the end of September, the suit will be dead and we can proceed. I want to thank the town board again for all its help. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, I'm gonna recess the public hearing to the call of the chair. Bring it back up to the board. Does the board have any comments they want to mention today or just digest what you've heard and come back and talk about it in our next meeting? Thank you all for coming.
Well, I am a library liaison. I mean, I heard what people said. My position is, it's the right move. My position is the library did try over the decades. How can we improve the building and have a viable building for the library in the center of town? It was shot down time and time again. The voters did approve this, and it is what it is. I mean, the library is not in business to maintain an old building. The library is in business to provide the best library services that they can to the town of Woodstock. And I do believe they will be doing that in the new building. I do know that the water department, as well as the WEC, did sign off to say they did not see a toxin issue. I can also say there was a business there before there was the library. The library is going to be no worse in terms of how it would treat the environment than the business that was there before. So it's not like the library is breaking ground in a totally open area and bringing down trees to put up a building. They're reusing in what I believe is a good use of an existing building. So I hear people's passion. I hear the worry. We did, as Dorothea said, we've swapped. You've got one set of people in Woodstock who walk to the library where it is today. Bearsville has a lot of people living out there. That's a different set will get to walk to it. I've heard UCAT bus is becoming free. And so there will be free ways for people to get out there. So I hear the passion of people that spoke. I hear that, but as library liaison for years, I've seen the library do the very best they could to serve the people of Woodstock. And great job for perseverance, because it hasn't been easy.
Thank you, Laura. Reggie, we're not going back to the public. We're not going back to the public. Thank you.
No, I think we'll say, Laura, something
I was hoping we get our second round and we were promised. I was interrupted after that gentleman, so that we can go to those
Second
speakers and then
No.
we did not get back
Thank
to us.
I did return. I went to Danny and I asked anybody else. And
No,
nobody
then
did.
we were interrupted by the,
And then I went back to Danny.
Natalie has a second.
I asked everybody. and
Well,
nobody-
maybe you didn't see. them.
Okay, conversation's over. We'll be reopening the public hearing at the next meeting.
thank you.
Which is September 13th.
Yes. Be it resolved to accept the retirement of Anthony Smith from the police department effective July 31st, 2022, and be further resolved to hire Anthony Smith as part-time officer at a rate of $25.57 effective August 10th, 2022. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to accept the resignation of Ashley Slavinsky as confidential secretary to the supervisor effective August 19th, 2022. And on a personal note, I thank Ashley for several great years of service.
And second, and I'll add that as my personal note as well, it'll be hard to have somebody as perfect as Ashley, because she was perfect in every way, as far as I'm concerned.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Whereas the Woodstock Water District has received regulatory approval for plans to replace a well and connect it to the main pump house of the water district, and whereas the plans and specifications to this well connection project have been prepared by Bernier and Larios PC of Kingston, New York, as engineers of the water district. And whereas the work is vital to the supply of water to the properties served by the water district, therefore be it resolved by the town board pursuant to general municipal law authorizing the public bidding contract TW 211 pump and piping installation for new well at Woodstock Pump House. Be it further resolved, town clerk will coordinate with Bernier and Larios PC regarding the appropriate advertising.
Second.
Any questions? We started that project. I'll just give you a brief update. So in Pump House 1, which is located out by the ball fields, Rick Bolts, there were two wells out there. One of them is in the building. And they're shallow wells. They're only about 20 to 25 feet deep. They had a stainless steel screening, which is kind of disintegrated over time, and it's got to the point where the well itself is silted in. So was it last year? I think it was last year. We drilled a new well about 30 feet deep. We've got it lined. It's a 2-foot well, and it's within the last month or two. Dennis has got all the approvals from the state, and so we're signed on to bring it online. So this next phase is to actually put the pump in there and connect it up. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Before I read this, Bennett, I think that, I know that there's been some conversation and about amending this resolution a little.
Yeah, I wanted to, I know that this resolution is currently on the table, and I think that we could bring it off the table and amend it. So that,
It's not on the table. I haven't offered it yet, so
well, no, I mean, we tabled it in the last meeting.
right,
So we have to bring it up.
yeah, yes.
Right.
So before I make a motion though, give me what,
What I would propose that we do is that we strike the line that says to dissolve the Woodstock Artist Memorial Trust and Agency. And then strike be it further resolved.
so be it resolved.
So that it will say be it resolved to transfer and then add $3,927.99.
That's
Funds.
3927.
3927.99.
9.
See,
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
putting
just make
that
it,
right
let's
there.
just make it 3,900 and it leaves a little bit more in.
So that money comes from what was called the Plantings and Landscaping
Mhm.
Trust Agency.
And the bail.
And it's not the bail, that's just the Plantings and Landscaping Trust and Agency. So there was the bail, the Plantings and Landscaping Trust and Agency, and the Bring John Ernst Home Trust and Agency,
Right.
right? So this is just taking out the Plantings and Landscape Agency money.
Why wouldn't we take out the bail? Since that wasn't initially for trees. I thought we were only gonna leave $80 in there. That was,
So that's
So,
what I thought we were gonna
Yeah.
do.
so the John Ernst money is $93.36.
mhm.
And, you know, I figure that artists need bail more than trees do. So I would just leave it in there. That's a joke.
Thank you.
I would take out the money that was for plantings and landscaping. I would put that money into the tree committee's trust and agency fund. Then I would that would leave the $500 from the unclaimed bail trust and agency and the $93.36 from the Bring John Ernst Home Trust and Agency.
I tell you what, why don't we split hairs and we'll say we'll move 4,100 and that'll leave the balance of the bail and
That,
everybody good with that?
If you're both good with that, I'm good with that.
Be resolved to, so I'm just gonna read through
Yeah,
it, this I'm not offering. Be resolved to transfer $4,100 from the Woodstock, $4,100 from the Woodstock Artist Memorial Trust and Agency Reserve to the Memorial Tree Trust and Agency Reserve number, blah, blah, blah. And be further resolved, trust and agency, the tree trust and agency will continue to be used to plant trees and honor, so the rest of it is all good. You're fine with that?
well, I would eliminate the be it further resolved that the Woodstock Town Board will approve all expenditures because they do have to anyway when things
It
are.
just clarifies that we've always had that in there whenever we.
It's fine.
So we're keeping the Woodstock Artist Memorial.
Yeah.
Yes,
it will-
with-
It will
That's
have,
important.
About $300 in it. Okay. All right, then, be it resolved to transfer $4,100 from the Woodstock Artist Memorial Trust and Agency Reserve to the Memorial Tree Trust and Agency number 9475. Be it further resolved, the Memorial Tree Trust and Agency number 9475 will continue to be used to plant trees in honor of Woodstockers as recognized by the Woodstock Town Board. And be it further resolved, expenses associated with fundraising for this fund will be paid out of the fund. And be it further resolved, the town board will approve all expenditures.
And to second that, since he's the
So,
liaison.
yeah, that's how it would read, but since we put it on the table during the last meeting, we have to vote to bring
Bring
it
it out.
off the table. So I move to bring that resolution as amended off the table.
I
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Uh,
To second the resolution?
Bennett, do you want to
Second.
second it? You're
All
the-
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yay, trees.
Good
We
compromise.
get trees, yay.
That's great, I'm thrilled.
To add something, like, it's related to this.
Mhm.
I just would like to acknowledge the passing of our Woodstock artist Warren Bernhardt.
Mhm.
We lost a really beautiful musician in our community, and I think that we should continue to honor these people who have lived here for so many years, who have given us such beauty in art. And that's why I think it's important that we keep that other trust going, because maybe we can do something with that finally
Good point.
and acknowledge our artists.
Good point.
We are
You know-
a colony of the arts, so.
While we are acknowledging, although it happened a week ago, I want to acknowledge the passing of Tim Keefe Jr.
Mm.
from the Woodstock Water and Sewer Departments. Tim was 43 years old. He had worked for the town for 5 or 6 years, but grew up here. His family members, many of his family members work for the town, and he's sort of missed. So on behalf of the town board and the town, we offer their condolences. So, and with that, I will move to councilperson's updates. Elena, would you like to start?
We are still working on the community center dishwasher for the senior lunch program. So we're hoping that we can not only locate that, but also find someone to install it. Also to make note that what is also needed is a microwave. There may have been one there at some point, but the other night when we had our Volunteers Day festivities, I went in there to take a look and there's no microwave. So we're gonna need that as well for the senior lunch program. There used to be, but there's not one now. It's not there at all, I checked. So just to be aware of that. Also, I'm still continuing to work with the STR task force as liaison. And we will be meeting this week just to go over, wrap up some of the recommendations that we have. And everyone on the town board will receive our recommendations shortly.
So perhaps we'll talk about that next month.
That's the hope. Yes, that's the goal.
Okay, thank you.
2 brief pieces. Number one, tree committee is IDing trees that are in distress. If you see a tree that's in distress and it's on town property, or even if it's not, the tree committee could also consult and tell people what they can do. The heat is distressing a lot of trees, and the tree water, and some people think trees need fertilizer at this point. That's exactly what they don't need. So please, if you do see a tree in distress, the tree committee would be more than happy. But they're currently IDing certain trees that are in distress, and then we'll be figuring out a plan to help them make it through this tough time.
I know you had mentioned one on the village green, and we had been watering that one on a weekly basis up until about a week ago, the village green garden ladies and myself. But at this point, we really telling everybody else not to be watering it from the hydrant, so we've had to cut back on that. So, second piece, did you say?
Second piece is that the new Onteora School Board President, Emily Sherry, from her, she's a Woodstocker, and we're thrilled to have her as the president of the school board, as the liaison to the school board. I'll be sitting down with her about the upcoming school year and what will be going on with the school year and how we can coordinate with them on any projects they might have.
Congratulations, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
Let's mention that. That's really
I forgot
important.
about that.
That's very important.
I'm really thrilled to announce that Governor Hochul signed a law into effect that was passed by the House and the Assembly and the Senate. We are now no longer councilmen, we are council members.
Council
And-
members, yay.
And it is official. Maria Elena had worked with Ashley Dittis, who was the Board of Elections Commissioner, the Board of Elections nonpartisan advocate for this. It was one of 2 things that they were able to help get through. I worked with Senator Hinchy, and she helped co-sponsor this legislation. And we also worked with the Ulster County Democratic Committee. So it was a bipartisan effort, but really just hats off to Council Member Conti and Commissioner Ashley Dittis and State Senator Michelle Hinchy, who works hard so that we are now no longer councilmen, we are council members. I'm thrilled to be a small part of that.
This will be great for young girls to hear this, Joe, and inspirational.
Excellent.
So there you go. So I'm realizing that the one thing that did not make the agenda, and I'm hoping that we can draft something, moving the telecommunications law to the Woodstock Planning Board and the Ulster County Planning Board, because the telecommunications law has been in front of the town board for 2 weeks and I believe is ready to go. And I hate to have it wait another 3 weeks until our next meeting because we do want to protect the town.
I will make a motion to move the amendments to the Woodstock Planning Board and the Ulster County Planning Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No. She said,
I said,
Oh, okay. This must be my dead year. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, are you done with
Okay.
your updates?
Yeah, am I done? No, I didn't even start yet. Okay, all righty. So I do have a bit of a list. So the latest thing I've started looking into, there were some people, I think they were at this meeting the last time, and they came to the Woodstock Environmental Commission, people who are concerned about Terramore. Terramore is across the border in Saugerties, but it's right next to Woodstock. So Terramore is a glamping site. It's about 70 acres. The idea is it's going to have 75 campsites. Everybody's going to have their own fire pit. They're going to have buildings besides 75 glamping buildings. There's going to be main buildings. There's going to be employees. People are worried about the environment, worried about endangered species, worried about aquifer concerns, worried about noise crossing the border, worried about traffic. There are a lot of concerns people have. As a peer town, there's a limit to how much we can do, but I have been reaching out to people in the county. I've been reaching out to people in the state. And I've also did call Fred Costello in Saugerties. So it's not clear what we can do in Woodstock yet to help influence. We do want to protect Woodstock, and I'm still making phone calls and doing investigations, but I just want to let people know that I have gotten involved.
So I'll ask you to just keep us updated periodically when you learn more
Yes,
information.
and I'll try to be careful because we can't tell peer towns what to do, but we do want to be protected. So, okay.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, so the next thing is people ask every now and then, what's the status of the Water District Wellhead Protection Overlay Law? The status is the Ulster County Planning Board, and that's one of the things that came out of the Zoning Revision Committee. Well, actually came from long ago, Ken Panza, Jerry Washington, Ed Sanders, but anyways, and Steve Winkley, but more recently, the Zoning Revision Committee has picked it up and moving it forward. So the Ulster County Planning Board did respond to the Water District Wellhead Protection Overlay Law. Their response was, we have an area to be protected that's over the wellhead. If they said if there's flood area properties in the floodplain that are adjoining that area, those adjacent properties, not everything in the floodplain, but those properties adjacent, they recommend should go in the protected area. That team that we had pushing this law forward included a mapping subgroup that had Bennett, Arlene Weissman, Judy Kerman, and myself. And so the four of us will get together next week and take a close look at what the Ulster County Planning Board is recommending and seeing what makes sense. When you look at a map two-dimensionally, it's like we ought to include all these properties. The reality is the properties to be protected are uphill. So maybe you don't need to do the property across the street because the flood water is never going to go uphill. So anyway, we're going to take a look and use some judgment. So we have the Ulster County Planning Board's response, and my goal is by our next meeting on September 13th to have a law and a map that we're now proposing that this mapping subgroup has thought through the recommendation. The next thing is, that we just saw, and yay, hooray, telecommunications law is now on its way to the Woodstock Planning Board and the Ulster County Planning Board. The significance of telecommunications law, it was written by Andrew Campanelli, an expert in telecommunications law. He built it for Woodstock. Zoning Revision Committee took it, combed through it. I can tell you it's 49 pages. I read every word. There were a couple of holes, there were some discrepancies, and we needed to make it match Woodstock. It does now. I took the updated copy and reviewed it with everybody on the Zoning Revision Committee and back to Andrew Campanelli. I didn't want to make a change and not review it with a lawyer. So I feel very good about the telecommunications law that we just voted to move forward in the process. the worry about waiting our next meeting is 3 weeks from now. We want to protect Woodstock sooner rather than later. So thank you for the board in general, the board consensus that voted to move that forward. Appreciate that. Housing and Oversight Task Force, we all know we have the 300-page document. It's not all 300 pages of new, it's all redlined of what's new. Very large document. Housing Oversight Task Force has been receiving feedback from people, different committees, different individuals, and the Housing Oversight Task Force is categorizing that information. A bunch of us just attended the Woodstock Planning Board meeting on Thursday to hear their thoughts, and ZBA members were there as well. So it'll be an evolution. Version 1 is what came out, presented on May 31st, made available June 1st. That was version 1. We don't know yet what version 2 will look like, but everybody's input is much appreciated and being carefully considered to make sure we're doing the best we can for Woodstock. So Housing Oversight Task Force work is still going on. CEA adoption, I don't know whether, Ben, if you want to say anything about that or if you want me to.
Well, I mean, you're the liaison to the Woodstock Environmental Commission.
Okay, but you've been a member of the CEA. So right now, there have been public hearings on the CEA, public information sessions. And the latest step is to have our town lawyer take one look. I don't know if it's another look or the last look or the only look, but the town lawyer is taking a look to make sure that the town is protected as we move forward. As I've said, I was on the comprehensive plan, liaison to the comprehensive plan, and I know that the feedback from over, it was like 700, between almost 800 people said, let's protect the environment, let's give affordable housing. And the CEA does protect an environment in an area that's not really protected so far. So I do think it matches what the people of Woodstock in general said at comprehensive plan time. But anyway, we want to make sure we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's before we move forward on that. So that's coming soon. The other thing that I've been big on lately, though, I call it the Woodstock Community Thermal Team. I've been working with Arlene Ryan on the WEC and members of the Woodstock Transition Energy Group, Dermot McEwen, Eric, I'm going to get the names wrong, Deborah Kosar, Eric's name will come to me, I'm sure. But this group of 5, I'm one of them, but the group has been wonderful working with CHA, Clown Harbor, because we did submit our grant. We submitted a Category A grant. It's called PON, I find it 4614. What it's a grant for? It's an NYSERDA grant so that we can have Woodstock assessed for geothermal. Can we do community geothermal? Any property that have geothermal on their property, the advantage of community, you get some efficiencies of scale if you tie properties together. And because New York State wants to go green, and now we have a federal law just signed, there's a lot of movement to going green. So we do now have a grant application submitted. And our goal was 10 letters of support. We got 30 letters of support, including the Woodstock Town Board Supervisor McKenna, including the WEC, but property owners throughout Woodstock. We had 30 letters of support, which went in as part of the application. So we made our deadline of August 16th, and it may take 3 months to hear back whether we got the grant, but it would be $100,000 to fully cover the assessment of Woodstock and what we can do. And then we can go for grants for the design phase and implementation phase later. But getting the grant for the analysis, we got the application and we're pretty excited. It was a lot of work, I can tell you, but a wonderful team to work with, and keep your fingers crossed.
Okay, thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Reggie?
Yes, briefly, CSAC is really excited. They are getting a donation box outside of the trails and getting a QR code so people can just scan and donate to CSAC if they'd like. I can't.
There's not going to be a box out there for checks and cash though.
No,
Okay,
no.
it's just okay.
Yeah, and actually I'm sorry, there will be directions for leaving money in envelopes at the town offices. I should clarify.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Also, there is another working scheduled for October 22nd, where they move more stones and chips to keep the trails covered and good for walking. They're also they did mention that garbage hasn't been, they'd like to make sure maintenance is getting the garbage bags. They were saying the last time they were out there, they were full, and they've noticed garbage bags are not really being picked up enough. Also, last thing, just briefly, youth centers are going strong. They've noticed definitely an uptick since last year as COVID, thankfully, this year has eased up on a much greater level than we were last year. They're seeing their numbers up. They're pretty busy over there. Patrick actually is off this week for well-deserved week of vacation, which he rarely takes. So.
Excellent. Thank you, Reggie. Michelle? Oh, no, there she is. Do you have any public be heard? Anybody beside Michael?
Oh, No. I
have one thing.
Hold on, Iris, one at a time.
Did you
I'll
go
call
to
on
Bennett? Did you go? Did you do it?
Yes, yeah.
Michael-
I was listening.
Remember, you're no longer a councilman.
Michael was
right.
the only one who didn't speak.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
I'm
thank you
sorry.
for that.
Hold on. Sorry, Michelle.
That's-
Michael was the only one who didn't speak.
And Iris, you said you wanted to speak public be heard as well?
Yeah, I have just
Okay,
1
but
minute.
not yet. Michael
Yeah, I know.
first.
I know.
Go ahead, Michael. 2 minutes.
Um,
Hold on,
yeah,
let me start the clock.
I think I'm gonna need 3 minutes, Bill. First of all, I wanted to thank you for the funding for trees.
Yes, tell Gay to buy them.
The very first invoice has been submitted for 6 trees for your approval. 3 of those are to be planted on the front lawn of the Woodstock Elementary School on 375. And the other 3 are earmarked for the Unitarian, I guess it's the Overlook Church. Is it, I don't know, Overlook, the big Overlook Church on 212.
Yes.
So anyway, thank you again. That's great. And please consider that Gay Lenhart's presentation on behalf of the tree committee before the board was a request for a line item in next budget. If you need any additional information from us, just let me know. But that is an official request to the town board to establish a line item for the tree committee to purchase trees going forward, starting with this next budget round. Okay, so we'll be paying attention to that. Now, I was very happy to see Laura talking about the green initiative. Talking about the new addition on the Como, it occurred to me that the energy audit for that addition is probably over 2 years old at this point. And it also occurred to me that the building is not situated to take advantage of passive solar, which is south. If the building were to face south, it would be a prime candidate for passive solar and reduced energy costs. The way it is situated on the current plan, it faces east, will not get passive solar or maximum gain. And I'd like to see Bennett or the town board or somebody, Laura, revisit that and seek an energy audit of that addition based on a hypothetical that you're going to put it facing south and get the passive solar. That's sort of like Architect 101. And now that we've got this big green initiative, geothermal is fine. That's one thing, but passive solar it's free.
3 minutes are up, Michael. Thank you.
Let's go for it. All right. Thank you very much, Bill.
You're welcome.
I just have a quick question on the town clerk's hours. What are their hours? Because I just want to make sure I don't make unnecessary trips, which I have. So if I know their start time and end time, I make sure that I get up there at those hours.
9 to 4, but Lynn is often here at 8:30.
9 to 4, okay.
And I saw you come racing up yesterday. It was after 4.
No, it was exactly 1 minute to 4. And I saw you coming down and I go, uh-oh, I think maybe they're all gone.
Yes.
So, okay.
Thank you, Iris.
Yep, thanks.
Michelle, anyone else? No? Okay. Anyone wishing here to 2 minutes for public be heard?
If you didn't vote yet, vote.
Yes, go
You
vote.
can vote until 9
One more
o'clock.
hour to vote.
It's very important.
Public
Yeah, public be- Bill, is that what you're doing?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I just wanted to.
come up and,
Just for the public hearing.
No, public be
this is
heard.
public be heard.
Yeah,
It's not
public
the
hearing
public
is
hearing.
postponed for the next meeting.
2 minutes, you can talk about anything you want.
Okay, I just wanted to address some mistakes in Laura's conversation. The library is going to disturb the soil to put the foundations for an elevator in, and that is going to cause agitation of the lead and arsenic and the trichloroethylene, which is a carcinogenic substance. And I was just talking to a guy today who's got nerve damage from it. My God, this is not something we're going to play with. And it is a type 1 because of that agitation. They should have applied to SEQA with a type 1 application. It was a complete mistake in the library's approach to this project. They are the lead agency, but they're not admitting they're going to agitate the soil for the septic and for the elevator. You know that. So don't sit there and say, oh, we're so innocent. We're not touching anything. We're not going to create a mess. It's going to be a mess.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi,
State your name for the record.
my name is Anthony Perry. So is it 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, all right. I'm here tonight representing the Woodstock STR Association, a group of roughly 60 homeowners, business owners, and community members to recognize the important role that short-term rentals play in our community. These STRs enable us to afford and maintain our part-time residences. I have a house on Forestwood Drive. These rentals also provide income and employment to community members, from housekeepers and landscapers to electricians and plumbers, bringing necessary revenue to the community. As we previously informed the board in September 21 and January of 2022, we believe that the following legal matters could be pursued to protect our members' rights. Lack of studies or analyses to support the entire underlying regulatory framework. Number 2, improper and unsubstantiated targeting of a limited class of property owners, i.e. short-term rental owners, as being marked as responsible for or significantly contributing to the town's believed affordable housing challenges. Number 3, improper classification of short-term rentals as a business as opposed to a residential use of property, thereby improperly disqualifying pre-existing short-term rentals for being grandfathered as legal non-conforming uses. Number 4, improper use of the town's zoning power to regulate what is in essence a form and incident of ownership, i.e. the right to rent one's property at a term of their choice. Number 5, arbitrary setting of the cap followed by the arbitrary reduction of it. And 6, chaotic, haphazard, and capricious administration of the cap to date. We've been trying our best to avoid pursuing legal remedies since we first wrote to the town board in September 21 through our attorneys. And we have worked tirelessly to maintain an open line of communication in a positive and constructive manner. We see 2 possibilities moving forward. Remove the cap permanently, allowing all applicants to receive permits, STR permits, as long as they meet the criteria listed in the application, all guidelines established in 2019, or temporarily lift the cap, allowing those who were previously renting their homes as SCRs with Ulster County permits to apply for and receive Woodstock permits. Again, we want to make it clear that we want to work with the town board, not against the town board. But after many months of efforts, literally more than 18 months with no resolution, we need to see some immediate action taken.
Yeah.
Our alternative paths forward include legal action focusing attention on the points listed above. Alternatively, we look forward to moving past this period of controversy and turning our attention to making our Woodstock community better. Thank you.
11 months. September 21.
Well, that's with the attorney.
So Maria Elena and I did
Do I
have
put this into the record?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. If you could give it to the town clerk, she'll add it to the record.
Thank you.
Thanks. Sorry. It's a little-
Let's talk tomorrow, but Maria Elena and I
Okay.
would like to have the list of you said 60, but I believe you've told me in the past there's 25 homeowners.
Yeah, so there's roughly 25 that need a permit. There's roughly 60 people that have contributed financially to the.
Give us the list of the 25 people who would be putting in an application.
Okay. All right, let me talk to the other members.
I know they've resisted this a little bit, but
Yeah,
Not
I think the fear is that they're gonna be targeted for not getting a permit. I think that's the fear based on some feedback I've received. You know, again, I've kind of taken this up on behalf of some other people that have been here dramatically longer than I have. But I can definitely speak to,
At some point, they need to, if we voted on this next week, they'd be putting in an application.
right.
So, I mean, if we gotta have good faith.
Okay.
So I would strongly urge, and I know you've tried to get this before.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a little helpful to us to have that.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thanks.
Be well. Next person.
As somebody who has chosen not to join the legal actions against the town for the.
You know what? Whoever that is, Michelle, mute. Have the floor. Just mention, put your name into the record.
Sorry, Ralph Balkan. I've been living here 45 years. A newcomer then and lots of conversation about that. I just want to make a note that probably people know this, but any suit that was placed against the town or any of its decisions costs the taxpayer to have to deal with that suit. So all the taxpayers should reevaluate what might be going on in town and how much do they want to be paid for.
Thank you, Ross. Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, wait a second. No, I am very, very sorry.
Oh, we are moving into.
Executive session.
Motion to reopen the
Second.
the meeting. All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Motion to go into executive session to discuss police discipline matters.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Michelle, you can shut everything down. And we won't be taking any action when we come out of
Just use the restroom office.
executive session. Thank you.
Do I just end the meeting?
What?
Do I just end the meeting?
Yeah, you can shut it all down. Shut it down.
Zoom is, yes.
So I'm gonna leave the meeting and you can just shut it all down.
Okay, bye. Have a good night.
Bye.